I hope you amass some more.
Well, I don't know. You know, if my doctor's listening, she'll say, get rid of that lollipop. You know, give it to somebody else.
Well, pretty soon they'll be selling cannabis lollipops, I'm sure.
Maybe. I don't know. Hey, it's been a while since you've been down.
It has been. Well, we took off, you know, I guess we only did one show in November after the election, then one in December because of the holidays and everything. And, yeah, it has been a while. Then it rained. Then it snowed one day. So, yeah, it has been a long time. And I'm glad to be back. And we have a pretty hot topic today, and that's legalizing medical marijuana, the coming wave of growing hemp in Tennessee, and possibly also legalizing recreational marijuana. But before we get to that, because we're waiting on our guest today is Amanda Powers, but she has to drop off her son at school, so she might be a little bit late, she said. But I have a lot of announcements, so take out your pen and paper or your calendar, and let me let you know what the Franklin County Democratic Party is up to. So this Saturday at 9 a.m., that's February 16th at 9 a.m., we'll be having our monthly business meeting, and we meet at the Franklin County Annex Small Meeting Room, so that's right by the Election Commission, and starts at 9 o'clock. So this is just our regular monthly business meeting. Then this Monday, which is going to be President's Day, we're reviving an old tradition that we did a couple of years ago. I think we did it like 3 or 4 years in a row, but it's to have a spelling bee on President's Day. And it's going to be at the Franklin County Annex Large Meeting Room starting at 5:30. There's going to be an all-you-can-eat buffet. We're going to have chili, soup, sandwiches, all that. Food is free. Kids can enter a spelling bee. We're going to have two divisions. One's for K through 3rd grade, and the other is 4th through 8th grade. And then the prize is $50 for each division, whoever wins. And then for the adults, we're going to have an American History bee. And the adult who wins the American History, and if a kid wants to enter the American History bee, they can. Or if a high school student wants to enter, that's fine. But the winner of that prize is going to get dinner for 4 at the Fiesta Grill in Cowan. So that would be fun. And like I said, food is free. And it might seem unfair that, like, how could a 4th grader be competing against an 8th grader? Well, what it is that we have lists. We have a 4th grade list of words, a 5th grade list of words, 6th grade, 7th grade, and so on. And every child is going to have a name tag that says their grade really big. So when a 6th grader comes up, they're going to be spelling from the 6th grade word list. So it's going to be fair, we hope. So please come out for that. That's going to be Monday, February 18th. That's President's Day at 5:30 at the Franklin County Annex Community Room. So you'll want to enter over by the football field side. Again, the prizes is $50 for the spelling bee, cash, and for the American History bee, dinner for 4 at the Fiesta Grill in Cowan. All right, our next event is going to be Friday, March 29th at 5:30 p.m. at the Franklin County Annex big community room. And this is our biannual, every 2 years. We have a reorganization, and that's when we choose new officers, and we also choose a new meeting time, and make any changes to the bylaws and all that. So this is the time to jump in. If you want to jump in, become involved with the party, and y'all, the party is nothing but who shows up. We would not be talking about medical marijuana today if Amanda Powers hadn't showed up at our meetings. That was not really on our radar. And so if there's an issue that's important to you, come to our meetings, and that will get on our radar. And Amanda has done a good job of convincing a lot of us that it is a good idea. Now, I'm not going to speak for the party. Our members hold widely different views on abortion, on medical marijuana. We are not all in lockstep. On guns, we are not all in lockstep. But generally, economically, we are Democrats. We all overall hold to being Democrats. So you don't have to agree with us on every single issue. Okay, and then the last thing is we're having a big rummage sale. We call it Gently Used Treasure Sale, and it's going to be Saturday, April 6th, all day long, and also in the Franklin County Annex Community Room. So it's going to be Saturday, April 6th, from 7 a.m. until 5 p.m. If you have nice items that you want to donate, please get in touch with Louise Carrington. She's the head of this. You can call Louise at 703-1043, of course, area code 931. If you live in Sewanee, you can drop off your items on my front porch, because I live right on University Avenue, 263 University Avenue. So drop off items if you have things that you no longer need, or just come and shop. So let me just review again. This Saturday at 9 a.m., February 16th, we've got our monthly business meeting. This coming Monday on President's Day, February 18th at 5:30 p.m., we have our President's Day Spelling Bee and American History Bee. Cash prizes, good food. Then on Friday, March 29th at 5:30, we have our reorganization that we do every 2 years. And there will be dinner at that too, because it's Friday, you'll be just getting off work. You don't want to have to go home and make dinner. So we're going to have something. I'm not sure what. I think barbecue. And then on Saturday, April 6th, all day long is our rummage sale that the Franklin County Democratic Women are doing. If you have things to drop off, you can drop them off on the Friday before, April 5th, from I think noon until 8. We'll have the doors open and be pricing and sorting stuff, so that's another time when you could drop stuff off. So we hope that y'all can come for any of these events. And our guest hasn't gotten here yet, but she should be here any minute. Like I said, she's dropping off her son. But we're going to be talking today about the legalization of medical marijuana and possibly recreational marijuana. So yeah, Al was right. This is a big issue right now because our state senator, Janice Bowling, who is a Republican, has just put in a bill to legalize medical marijuana. And what I really like about this issue is that it is a very bipartisan issue. I mean, I have lots of Republican friends who support it. I have Democratic friends who are against it. I have Democratic friends who are for it. It seems to be one of those issues that doesn't really fall along party lines. Libertarians, of course, are for it. Have you noticed that, Al, that it seems to be like no matter what your party that doesn't seem to determine your feelings on this issue?
Right, I stumbled onto a story this morning that they're looking also, there's a bill that's being proposed, I think on the 23rd, to decriminalize marijuana in both the Senate and in the House. That would make it, decriminalization of possession of less than an ounce of marijuana in Tennessee.
Yes, Sarah Kyle, who is a state senator from Memphis and a Democrat, she proposed the law. Yeah, she proposed the decriminalization of recreational marijuana, and then State Senator Janice Bowling has proposed the legalization of medical marijuana.
Right.
So those are the two things.
So it's a pretty hot topic that's going on right now, and they're looking at various things, and it's going to be an interesting debate this year on, I was told that one side of the coin is really against it big time, and then there's another side that they say that the majority of the people that live in Tennessee are for it. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out.
Yes.
Hang on. CDT, good morning.
Good morning.
What's up?
I have a good question. I'm just getting into CBD oil really well, and I know that there's the biggest question that I hear from people is, does anything get in your system, and are you drug tested and just show up in your system? How can they have a law and that has, and CBD oil is legal.
Mhm.
But if it's showing up a positive test results, then what's the, it doesn't make sense.
You could lose your job maybe. Okay, well, ma'am, our expert here is Amanda Powers, and she has not arrived yet. But I wrote down your question, and when she gets here, I hope you'll still be listening. We'll address that topic. I know, I work at Swanee, and all new hires get drug tested, and it would be a shame if they were using okay, and first of all, I'm not the expert, but I know that CBD oil or CBD comes from hemp, and it has no THC in it. THC is the substance in pot that gets you high. It's the psychoactive thing.
Right.
So CBD supposedly has no THC. It has no psychoactive properties at all. So yeah, I'm not sure, but I'm hoping that Amanda will know. But yes, CBD is legal.
My CBD oil from Amanda.
Oh, okay.
So I've been working really close with her, and I just thought maybe that we have discussed this and been looking at articles, and that's what I'm doing right now is I'm testing the product on my own self.
Mhm.
So do you drug test? Have you drug tested yourself?
Well, no.
Well, see, you ought to drug test yourself and see if it shows up in a drug test.
Yeah, go to CVS, buy a drug test.
That could work. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, once again, in the drug test, it's a THC test that's a part of that drug test. So Amanda's walking in the door right now, so hopefully she can answer some of those questions for you.
Okay, well,
and that. But
I'll just let y'all have your show, and I'll listen.
Thank you for calling.
All right.
Hey, we already have a question for you.
So anyway, that is something that those test kits are available for your own personal use at home.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're concerned about those things, you can I'm sure you could check yourself. But
yeah, I would hate to see somebody not get a job because they. So Amanda, the question was, if you're taking CBD, would that show up on a drug test? Like if you were trying to get a job and they were testing you for THC, if you're taking CBD, is that going to show up on a drug test?
I think the answer for that question is I'm not really sure. I think that I read a study, and it's about 1% that it would come up positive, a fake positive. So
doing the oil thing would bring up a fake positive?
I've read that, but I have an individual, a customer, who actually uses it daily, and she said that she'd be willing to take a drug test to see if, internal use would cause it. I think topical probably less so, but potentially for the tincture. So.
Well, would that not be, of course, if they legalize it, would there not have to be that you have some kind of a statement from someone saying that I am on the oils and type thing? I wonder if that would be something that would, kind of bypass.
Well, there's two different types. It's going to be medicinal is going to have the THC in it, and that would be where you'd need maybe. They don't have a mechanism in the legislation that was passed in 2014 regarding CBD and the medicinal usage.
But for the medical deal, there's a card you get, right, that says.
There's no mechanism right now out for that, correct. Now, in the.
What's the card holder thing that you're talking about?
There's. The card holder?
Yeah. Let's say, of course, I was reading the new law that's being presented. It says that if you're if you have medical marijuana and you're a card holder and you're taking it to another card holder, they're wanting to make it to where you cannot be prosecuted.
Well, there's a mechanism, and that was the mechanism that was put in place. It wasn't really, but what was intended by 2014 legislation regarding CBD is going to be a legal defense for possession of the medicinal CBD. Now, you would have to retrieve it from another state. So, because there was no grow, no licenses that were given in Tennessee for growing, manufacturing, processing.
But that's fixing to change. Right?
For medical marijuana, yes.
No, I mean for growing CBD.
For CBD now, there's two types, one without THC and the other with THC. So what I deal in is the low THC. You can't have more than 0.3% THC in it, which that's determined by the seeds that you get and the material that you source. So that is completely legal. The medicinal is hopefully would be by card, like you say, and maybe even part of this medical marijuana bill. Hopefully. I'm going to talk to the senator about it and see if we can't get that as well, because it's just so therapeutic.
Right.
I invited Janice Bowling to be on the show today, by the way, but she couldn't make it. It would have been good to get a little more clarification about it. But okay. So first question for you, Amanda. Which do you support, legalization of medical marijuana or legalization of recreational marijuana, or both?
Both.
You support both. Okay, good. And what are the medical benefits of marijuana? And can you give some examples of people who it has helped?
The medicinal benefits are there. 33 states have already legalized, and D.C. Medical marijuana over the last 23 years.
33 states already.
It's 33.
Out of 50. Okay,
yes.
have legalized just medical marijuana.
Overwhelming support for it. And I think it was 86% of Americans support it, medical marijuana legalization, and 68% recreational. So I think we're there.
But what are some of the benefits? Like what diseases can it cure? Or
it eases the symptoms and discomfort of epilepsy, AIDS. It stimulates the appetite. It helps with cancer, chemotherapy, pain. It relieves Crohn's disease, cures glaucoma, reduces muscle spasms in MS patients, eliminates migraines and menstrual cramps. It's helping a lot of people that are suffering unnecessarily.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And
I have some information about why we should legalize recreational as well.
Okay, well, yeah, that was my next question, is what are the economic benefits of legalizing recreational marijuana? Like, if you look at some of the other states that have okay, first of all, how many states have legalized recreational marijuana? I know California, Colorado, Alaska.
13.
13? Okay.
13. Wait, hold on. It's 10 plus D.C., Washington, D.C. It's going to be Alaska, California, Colorado, Maine, Massachusetts, Nevada, Oregon, Vermont, Washington, D.C., and Michigan.
Michigan, okay. I thought Wisconsin had recently, too, maybe, somewhere in the Midwest. Okay, but anyway, what economic effects have we seen in those states?
Well, this is a huge implications. They're talking about the war on drugs costs $51 billion each year.
Mm-hmm.
That savings alone is just tremendous, and it's not effective. We've seen it.
And I imagine spots in the jail, for every person in jail, the state's paying money for that.
Oh, certainly. And the stigma. Let's remove the stigma of possession, casual exchange. It's a Class A misdemeanor, which means you're probably going to be on probation for a year. You drug test periodically. If you fail a drug test, you're going to jail, and you're serving the year, potentially. The economics aren't there. And when you get out of jail, then you still have the stigma of being a drug user, because employers, housing, it's going to limit those opportunities for these people and their families. It causes generational problems.
Yeah, it sort of sets you up for a life of failure, because it just sets off a chain reaction of can't get a job, therefore when you can't get a job, you can't pay your rent, therefore you can't, But as far as so you've talked about what these states are saving. They're saving money on having to incarcerate people, and all that. But what are they making a lot by taxing it?
Tremendous. In Colorado, the first 6 months of legalization in 2017, more than $750 million in revenue. And it's increased tax revenue to the tune of an estimated $8.7 billion.
Just for Colorado?
I think that's all the states, but it's just tremendous. And I have...
and that's going to the states instead of a bunch of drug dealers.
True.
You know? I mean, I would much rather the money be going to the state where they can do good things with it, like build roads and schools, rather than it going to some, just some drug dealer or some cartel,
Definitely. And
El Chapo, who wants to support him?
Well, it has actually also decreased violence in border states, another huge benefit. Reducing the black market has had a huge effect on legal states. A lot of the revenue is spent on schools, and now I did find out, I guess it was probably last year, that a great deal of the money was going to police education about how to spot DUI when someone is intoxicated under the influence of marijuana.
Another thing I wanted to ask you is, in these states that have legalized recreational marijuana, has opioid use gone down? Has they noticed a correlation between those two things?
I think they have. I think it has been significant. I know that studies exist that CBD is beneficial in decreasing the opioid addiction. And I mean, it's just tremendous, and especially in the areas of high overdose, having this available to them. And I think that this was also part of the medical marijuana bill that Janice Bowling submitted, was opioid addicts are going to be able to qualify under this bill for medical marijuana. So I mean, it's amazing. So hopefully we can get people off the pills and help them assimilate back to society. There's been so much, and I mean, just legalizing and expunging records and stopping the opioid addiction are reasons enough, I would think, to legalize it.
Well, I'm curious, and Al, you might know this, what percentage of the Franklin County Jail, for example, is filled with people just for marijuana?
I don't know about just marijuana. It seems like most of the ones lately that have been arrested for various different schedules. We're seeing right now a lot of meth arrests in the county. I don't know so much just straight simple possession. There is every once in a while someone. Yeah,
I just know on the county commission, we just had to spend all this money to expand the jail, and they're saying it might have to be expanded again. And I just thought, God, if at least the people and you may not necessarily be in the jail just for marijuana, but because you had a marijuana arrest in the past, then that means the next time you already have a record. So, you know what I mean? I think fewer people would be in that jail, and we'd have to spend less on expanding and maintaining that jail if there were no marijuana charge. Yeah, I don't know if we have the 3 strikes and you're out thing, but having a marijuana charge could be one of your 3 strikes, and then you're put into in the jail. Anyway,
as Amanda can talk to, it seems like once you're in the system, whether it's a simple marijuana charge that starts the ball rolling, in which you'd have to go back and look at some of these people way back and see what their original arrests were. That's led to some of the other deals. But you're finding out that they get into such a routine that all of a sudden they're failing to show up to do this or failing to do that, and they're kind of like just the heck with it, given up is what it boils down to, and they're not doing what they need to do, and that's what's creating the large numbers that keep coming back to jail, is that people who just have given up and they're just not doing the things that they want to do or can't afford to do the things that they're supposed to do, to pay their fines, pay their court costs, do those types of things.
Right.
Seems to be what the cycle is all about.
The violation of probation, it can start with a simple possession. They get the year on probation, they violate it for various reasons, and then they're back in jail on a violation just because they didn't. I don't think it's pay. I don't think they go to jail for that, but obviously if they committed a criminal offense, yes, but non-compliance can be a reason. But I do have those statistics across the country that you're asking for.
Wait, statistics for what?
For the marijuana arrest.
Oh, okay.
So according to the ACLU, marijuana arrests account for over half of all drug arrests in the U.S. Of 8.2 million marijuana arrests between 2001 and 2010, 88% were for marijuana. And it indicated significant racial bias. African Americans were targeted 3.73% more likely than whites to be arrested, and although marijuana there's equal usage rates between African Americans and whites. So, I mean, it has a disparate impact on different communities for criminalization. I just think that this has to stop.
Are there any callers out there? We would love to hear from you. I would love to hear a con, pro or con calls about this issue. If you feel like, no, we've got to keep this illegal, give us a call. Or if you want legalization, give us a call. We would love to hear both sides of the issue. So my other question is, we can kind of compare the age that we're living in now as almost like the age of Prohibition in the 1930s when alcohol was illegal. And so then that led to the rise of all these gangsters, who were bootlegging and all that. And we're in an age now where we have all these gangs, like the Crips and the Bloods and MS-13, dealing with drugs and all these cartels. So, I feel like legalization would just disempower all those gangs. I know they would probably still be selling other drugs, but marijuana's got to be a big part of of what they're doing. And so, just like when we ended Prohibition, a lot of those gangsters that controlled cities, they lost their power. I think that legalization could help the gangs not have such a grip on American cities, and cities in Central America too.
Marijuana's big business, and
it's totally untaxed. All this business is going on, and we're not able to tax it. But about business. Tell us about your business. So you have a CBD business. So where do you get it from? What kind of products do you sell? Do you have a store? Just tell us all about your business.
What
is it called?
It's Get Infused LLC. Get Infused products. I infuse oils, honey, just all kinds of stuff. Alcohol to make a pure extract. It's just been amazing. So
you buy the seeds or what?
No,
you buy the oil?
I actually buy the flower from Tennessee growers. The Department of Agriculture has a list of Tennessee growers and processors on their website. And I met a guy last year, and he called me. He's like, "Do you need some material?" And I was like, "Absolutely." And so I started playing around with it, and now I can make about 15 products, and they are awesome. And it's just been tremendous. And I sell to about 4 or 5 retail outlets in town, and I'm looking to expand. So Mooney's and Swanee carries my products. I make
I've seen that. I didn't know that was yours.
Okay. That and professional massage therapy. You can get a CBD massage. Tina and Mitzi, they'll be happy to get you onto that. And they carry my products. Janie's Hair Salon carries my products. So, and I make tinctures, which is to take under the tongue for internal CBD benefits, and also make the topicals, which are the salve and the creams. And honey, I make honey hemp CBD tea, which is so good, and I've been the only one to enjoy that. But like I said, I just make a lot of products, and I've gotten so much positive feedback from it. Customers keep coming back. They keep on using it. They love it. They tell me how it's helped reduce their pain, and I just didn't even know this was possible, and I'm just blown away by the possibility of the CBD market is booming. And I think I read $565 million it brought in last year, and that was when it was not legal. I mean, under the state pilot project for the last 4 years, it has been legal for licensed persons to grow and sell these products, which I was in that pilot project for 2 years before Prohibition ended in December. So now it's pretty much the Wild West when it comes to CBD oil, and the projection for 2020 is $20 billion for this industry.
And this is all getting taxed, right?
Yes.
And regulated.
It is.
Okay. And how many farmers in Tennessee right now are growing hemp that you know of?
I'm not really sure. I have been on the website. I've seen about maybe 6 to 8 pages, but that doesn't mean everyone's growing it.
Are any of your suppliers here in Franklin County?
They are not.
No? Okay.
I have to travel about 3 hours to Pall Mall, Tennessee, to get my material. And
so you buy the flowers, and then do you have like a machine that presses it into oil? Like, how do you get it from a flower into the oil?
You cook it.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't have to press it. And there's a lot of misconception around CBD oil, because they're like, oh, so you just press the seeds? It's actually from the flower, the trichomes of the flower. Similar to marijuana, that's where the THC lives. So does CBD on the flower. So that's where you're going to get your biggest benefit is there's a lot of companies that are selling, and they'll say, oh, it's made from the whole plant, it's made from the stalks. That's not what you want. You want something made from the flower if you want the highest therapeutic benefit. There's also a thing called isolate out there. A lot of people don't understand it because it's a new lingo. And isolate is the isolated CBD compound, and what they do is in a laboratory they'll extract just CBD and throw out everything else, and it's in a powder form, and then what they do is they'll put the isolate in whatever they're selling, whether it's topicals like cream or tinctures. And how you can tell the difference between isolate and full spectrum products, which is what I make, is the green color. Like, if you have a product that is green in color, you'll know it's full spectrum, and full spectrum means 113 cannabinoids are in that, working together for the most therapeutic benefit for the customer. And it's just tremendous, and I think that the full spectrum is what you need if you need it for therapeutic benefit. Because of all those cannabinoids. THC and CBD are not the only cannabinoids in the cannabis plant. There's a multitude. And
one question
what about the consumer that is trying to, find the right product for them? There's got to be some knockoffs. There's got to be some people out there that are scamming people and saying, I've got this, I've got that, and selling them something that's not legit. How do you go about making sure you're finding the right product that is legal and good and safe for them to use?
Good question, Al. That was actually one of the reasons why I got in this business, because, if it can help children in epilepsy, it's amazing. And so I was doing my research, and last year, I think, or the year before, I read where 23 companies were cited by the FDA in warning letters because they didn't have CBD at all in their products.
Now, does your stuff get regulated and tested and...
My stuff is, I'm licensed by the Department of Agriculture. I have a business license from the state and the city. And as far as my raw material gets tested, but there's something called an industry standard where you can make the calculations based on the percentage of CBD in your raw material, and I do most of the testing myself. I'm a small batch maker. In order to test every product, it would be an overburden for anyone, except for maybe a huge corporation that's making batches at 1,000 a time. I make 12 at a time, and mine is a boutique specialty item. Most likely, these huge corporations aren't making full-spectrum products, which are most therapeutic. So the answer is yes and no. I am regulated, but as far as testing every product, it's not possible.
Well, I do know that the people who are growing hemp, the USDA can come at any time and test what they're growing, and that hemp growers have to be aware that at any moment their products can come, someone can come in the field from the state and test them.
And destroy your whole field of hemp if it tests over that 0.3%.
So that's my next question. And there's a lot of misunderstanding about this. What is the difference between hemp and marijuana? The plants look exactly the same. What is the difference between a hemp plant and a marijuana? Because we're going to be seeing hemp plants growing in
all across the country.
Yes. So how do you tell the difference between a hemp plant and a marijuana plant? The naked eye can't tell, right?
Absolutely cannot.
Okay, so what is the difference?
Well, THC and CBD. The content of marijuana has a high THC content. Hemp has a legal limit of less than 0.3%.
Okay, so that's the difference, just the level of THC.
And whenever, the prohibition is a wonderful thing on this hemp. Hemp is amazing. CBD is not the only thing that you can make from hemp. There's 25,000 different products. Phytoremediation is such a potential for Superfund sites all across the country, even the world, and that's
because it can clean the soil.
It can clean the chemical, probably even nuclear contaminants from the soil. It just has so many implications.
So its roots kind of leach out contaminants out of the soil.
The plant absorbs the chemicals and lead and all kinds of other contaminants. It's just amazing what can.
Okay, so apart from CBD, it can clean the soil. Now there's also the fiber. What can we do with the fiber?
I have a sheet.
Can't we use that for paper? Are they making paper with hemp?
They should. I'm pretty sure that somebody is, but
and it definitely grows fast. Like right now we're making paper from trees, which take a long time to grow, whereas hemp takes 4 months to grow. So that could save us cutting down a lot of trees. Also clothes, right? Aren't they making
textiles? They can do twine, rope, nets, canvas, tarps, carpets, bright clutch linings, just geotextiles, paper, and it'll last forever. That's also a beauty of it. Building materials, foods, oil paints, varnishes, inks, fuels, solvents, lubricants, just tremendous.
I think we have a question here.
This way.
Oh, okay. What button do I push? One? Okay. Hello?
Hello.
Good morning, Janie.
Good morning. This is a testimony. This is my 7th day of using my CBD products consistently. right after my surgery last year, February the 27th, around in March, I used CBD oil after that, after my surgery. And anyway, and then I stopped. Well, I got back involved, and I take the drops. They help me. Don't ask me what it does. I don't know. It makes me feel better and calm. Doesn't mess you up, if anybody's wondering. But I've been using the cream, the CBD cream. And since my surgery, I have radiating pain to the front side of my shoulder, of my arm. And I have been inconsistent. It's sort of like an electric fence that runs in my arm. So I took this ointment, and I rubbed it into my arm, rubbed it into my neck, rubbed it into my arthritic hand, and then I just forgot about it. And I have not had pain in my shoulder in 6 days. I have not had pain in my shoulder. I don't take any pain medicines, but I'm telling you, I'm so amazed. And I'm doing the test on me. I can't say that it's going to do this for everyone, but I know what it did for my hand.
Wow.
I've been cutting hair for 38 and a half years. My hands have been in water, and I've been doing repetitive motions for 38 and a half years.
Mm-hmm.
Jamie,
and my hand is not hurting.
Whose products do you use?
I use Amanda's products.
All right.
Thank you. We appreciate your
self-promotion.
Definitely.
But it's not just that. In this study that I have done, what I feel, and I asked Amanda to not just give me the product, to give me the history about it, and give me I needed to know about the cannabinoid. How do you say it, Amanda?
Cannabinoid.
Thank you, cannabinoid. However, anyway. So she gave me all of that information. I'm still learning my own self. But in 6 days that I've been using it, I think that it goes in and it numbs your nerve endings. Because I've had this consistent pain. Pain doesn't go away overnight.
Right.
It takes it a little while. It weans off.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just amazed. Anyway.
Well, I'm happy to hear you're not needing to take, opioid painkillers. That's great. Not that you were before, but
I did.
Oh, you
right
did.
After my
okay.
surgery,
Right.
I was
afterwards.
on pain medicine and muscle relaxers for 4 months.
Oh my goodness. Well, you could have gotten addicted.
Of course, I could have.
Yeah.
And I do have my own children had problems with that. I hate them. I hate opioids. I hate them, but I know that I can't say that they're so bad and everybody needs to quit taking them, because there are people that are in severe pain and they have to have this.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they were made for, because after I quit taking them, I started taking ibuprofen, Aleve, and all of that kind of stuff, and ended up with the ulcer. I did.
Okay.
Anyway, so CBD is where I'm going, because I don't want ulcers and I don't want addiction. Mm-hmm. If it helps addiction, more power to it.
Well, thank you so much for calling. I'm glad to hear that you've had those good results.
Thank you, Janie.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Hearts Day.
Okay, and that's all really nice stuff, and now I'm going to throw some cold water on you, Amanda. How are we going to, if this does get legalized, how are we going to keep underage kids away from this? Because that's something I worry about, is that then, because, I'm talking about marijuana, not hemp.
Medical or recreational?
Recreational. I'm just saying, if recreational marijuana does get legalized in this state, I know it definitely does take away your motivation and your get up and go, and I would hate to see a bunch of kids, doing it and not wanting to do their homework or whatever. So how will we keep it away from kids? I imagine the same way we keep alcohol away from kids, which is, not selling to anyone under 21, but I don't know, what do you think? Or how do you feel about that, the thought of
I think that kids are using it already. We're not able to keep it away from them now. and there are restrictions for sale of recreational marijuana to persons 18 and older, 21 and older across the country. I think a study found in Colorado that there wasn't any significant increase in young adults' use of marijuana after legalization. So I think that that's an exaggerated fear, and I hear your loss of ambition, isolation, depression as side effects of marijuana potentially.
I wasn't thinking about that, but yeah, loss of ambition maybe.
And I think that, that studies have been done, and they have concluded that, but I think some of those issues are stemmed from not being able to be truthful about your usage. You can't just, hey, you want to come over? Because you do it alone because you don't like the stigma, or you can't enjoy it in a group. And
that's one thing that I sometimes argue with my friends about of whether marijuana is a gateway drug or not. And I think it is a gateway drug insofar as once you start smoking pot, that gets you into contact with people who are doing other things, and that gets you into this sort of underground kind of thing. And so then, okay, well, once you've tried that, then you try the other thing, and then you try the other thing. Like, you never meet a heroin addict or a meth addict who just went straight to heroin and meth. A lot of times they started with pot or they started with alcohol. But I do think that if we decriminalize marijuana and it doesn't have that kind of underground stigma, and for example, drinking doesn't have that stigma at all. Like a person can drink and never get introduced to the drug underworld. So I think if pot were legalized, then someone could just try pot and stop there because it's legal. They never get introduced to dealers and sort of underworld kind of people who are doing meth and cocaine and heroin and other kind of more scary things. I agree, Helen. There are some concerns, and those are exactly the concerns. And I believe that legalization would certainly curb that. And but then I also look at it in the gateway portion as PSAs, public service announcements for years, just dirty hippies, use marijuana and hemp, and, here's your brain on drugs, egg in a frying pan, and things like that have just been scare tactics to keep the stigma going to keep the drug keep it on the schedule list of the federal government. And I just think those scare tactics aren't working anymore. 68% of American people believe in legalization. Let's do it already. Yeah, and I was telling Al before you got here, what I love about this issue is it's very bipartisan. It's one of the few things that Republicans and Democrats can agree about. A lot of, I think there's probably just as many Republicans who want legalization as Democrats, and then there's probably just as many Democrats who don't want it as Republicans. It's sort of it doesn't tend to fall on party lines, which I like that about it.
Well, we were talking about not being able to distinguish hemp from marijuana in the field, and testing would be required. But I think that end of hemp prohibition is ushering in the legalization of marijuana, because it's just crazy to think that we're going to have all these hemp fields across the country now, and no one's going to be growing marijuana in them, which I understand the regulations, and once it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, it's going to be hard to go out and test these fields. And I just think it's ushering in.
So hemp is the gateway to marijuana.
I think it's the gateway.
All marijuana is then the gateway to recreational.
Open the gates.
But I do know that people growing hemp really have to be careful, because the USDA and other officials will be spot testing at any given moment, and you never know when.
They're watching.
Mm-hmm. So, okay, I had another question. What is the difference between legalization and decriminalization?
Decriminalization, in 2014, I believe, in 2016, a senator in Tennessee went to some city council members in Memphis and Nashville, and we're talking about the possibility of decriminalizing marijuana. And what it is when an officer comes in contact with someone in possession, they choose whether or not to issue a civil, like, citation or criminal arrest and a criminal charge. And that's where it failed, because equal protection of the laws require that it be handed equally across lines, which means you can't leave it up to the police officer's discretion as to what to do under the circumstances. So the question is decriminalization. What it would be is a civil citation, a fine, $50 or what have you, and not a Class A misdemeanor. That's the criminal aspect. But that's where it failed, is it was unconstitutional, because the officers could say, oh, well, you know, I know this guy, I'm going to arrest him for it. Oh, he looks like he's clean cut, I'm going to issue a citation. So, but legalization, that's going to remove all the criminal, civil, all of those penalties from it, and also allow for the states to tax it and regulate it. So those are the key differences. And there's a huge problem with FAFSA. Like, if you're trying to make application for higher education, you fill out that FAFSA form, you're going to find that have you been convicted of a drug charge is on there. And if you have, your opportunities for higher education are slim, and that is hurting society. I mean, that's one of the hugest problems.
Yeah, I never thought about that, but yeah, I just did my kids' FAFSA, and I remember seeing that question. Okay, so if I can summarize what we've talked about today, the pros of legalizing marijuana are, and you can help me add on to these, increased tax revenue for the state, people, getting relief from their medical ailments without having to use opiates. Growing hemp can clean the soil, or detoxify the soil. We would save on enforcement and the war on drugs, and save on having so many people in jail. So we'd save a lot of money. Individuals' lives aren't ruined by having a criminal record. What else? What else do you see as a pro?
Job creation. Legalization has spawned a new industry with farmers, growers, processors, manufacturers. It says that in Nevada alone, 41,000 jobs were created. And nationwide, if we legalized it, 1.1 million jobs would be created.
But who's going to work in that industry? That's going to be the thing. Is who will it attract? You're talking about farming and things like that. Who's going to attract to come work in those situations? Because right now we're having a hard time finding people that that are going out and working in some jobs in our society.
Well, they just recently had a growing hemp information session at the USDA office. It was packed. It was packed with people.
Tobacco farmers. That
is a great thing.
$1.80 a pound of tobacco. A pound of hemp costs $30 a pound.
I don't think you'll have a problem finding the growers. I think the growing is not the person to grow it. I don't think is the problem. The problem is going to be the workers that help bring it to market. How do you pick it? How do you process it? How do you go about doing that?
It's great that you asked, Al, and that's one of the biggest problems that's facing the industry, because it's been illegal for 80-something years, and none of this technology really exists. But there's information out there from other countries that have legalized it and who's doing it. And they talk about your combines and how you can make adjustments in order to harvest the crop. There's companies out there that are making this farm equipment. Other companies, I mean, they're scant.
All the dirty hippies. That's what the dirty hippies will be.
Sounds good to me. They'll be billionaires by the end of this, dirty hippies. I'll take it. I'll take it every day.
Well, I mean, now every politician wants job creation, job creation. They never say who's going to fill these jobs. I mean, we always want to make jobs, right?
People who love marijuana are going to fill it.
Dirty hippies.
Bring them on is all I can say. Come make it. Come make the medicine finally. Legalize.
Okay, well, it is 9. Can I just go through my announcements real quick before we go? Thank you so much, Amanda. I loved hearing from you. I wish we could have gotten one caller, who was anti, too, just to hear that side of the story. But anyway, let me just go over our announcements again. We've got this Saturday, February 16th at 9 a.m., the Franklin County Democratic Party monthly business meeting. On this Monday, which is President's Day, we're going to have the Spelling Bee and an American History Bee. Remember, prizes for the Spelling Bee are $50 cash. If your child is a good speller, please bring them. We would love to have them compete. It's going to be adorable seeing these little kindergartners and first graders spell. And then for the adults, we have an American History Bee, and the prize for the American History Bee is dinner for 4 at Fiesta Grill in Cowan. So that would be a fun evening for somebody. At the Spelling Bee, we're going to have all the food you can eat. Food is free. Of course, you can make a donation if you want. And then on Friday, March 29th at 5:30 is our big party reorganization. We do this every 2 years. It's when we choose officers and set our new meeting times, set our agenda, all that kind of stuff. And then on Saturday, April 6th, we're going to have a gently used treasures rummage sale. And it's going to be, the rummage sale is from 8 a.m. until 2 p.m. on April 6th. And you can drop off items for the sale on the day before, Friday the 5th, from 2 to 8 p.m. And all those events are happening at the Franklin County Annex. So we hope to see you at those things. And thank you so much for coming. And thank you, Amanda, for coming and sharing all your knowledge with us. And Al, thank you for letting us use your show.
Oh, it's your show.
Our show.
It's your show.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
All right. Thank you so much.
All right, and what's coming up next in your next show? And I just took the sheet of paper to the other room that had what it was.
It is Sandy Rice is going to be interviewing a woman from Safe, Tennessee, which is about sensible, common sense gun regulation.
Okay.
And that's 2 weeks from today. Let me look at my calendar, but the 28th, February 28th.
All righty.
Okay. Then the one after that, we're going to have Billy Anderson from Solid Waste talking with Nancy about the big challenges coming up for Franklin County with solid waste. We're losing landfills and all that. So
right.
Big issue facing our county right now. And then the one after that, the second one in March, we're going to be interviewing a woman from Tennessee Reconnect, which is an amazing program that helps adults 25 and older go back to college or technical school.
Right.
So that's going to be on the fourth Thursday in March. So our show's always the second and fourth Thursday of the month.
Right.
Thank you. So get those FAFSAs in.
Yeah. Yeah.